Nicole here with Job Hunt Solutions, and in today's video we're going to look at sort of the darker side of job searching, and that is job scams, how to spot them and what you could do about it. Now, there are a number of telltale signs in terms of what makes a job a scam, and so here are my top 8 tips or top 8 things that you should look for. Number 1, does the company offer you the job right away? Sight unseen, no interview, they just send you an email saying that they saw your profile or saw your resume online and they would like to offer you a job. Most organizations are required to do their due diligence and to sort of prove that they have found the best candidate for their jobs, and that proof is usually in things like conducting thorough interviews and background checks, etc. Now, the second thing to look for, because a lot of these scammers have become a bit savvy to this, they'll start to do, sort of interviews and go through the motions, but they'll ask you to conduct an interview over instant message. Most large organizations, of course, they're going to be doing interviews, but they'll do them either over telephone, via Skype, or in person, never over instant message. And for some reason or other, and I'm not trying to pick on Yahoo, but scammers tend to really like using Yahoo Instant Messenger. So that just might be another telltale sign for you, but definitely if it's an interview over instant message, it should get your guard up right away. The third telltale sign would be in the job description itself. If you receive or come across a job ad that is really poorly written, and what I mean by that is poor grammar, poor spelling, and quite obviously poor grammar and spelling, then that should raise an eyebrow for you because they're probably not going to be legitimate. A fourth telltale sign would be an unprofessional email address. So if you receive an email from somebody from a Gmail or Yahoo.com account, that sort of thing, it's probably not a legitimate company role or job, so it might be a complete scam right off the bat. The fifth telltale sign would be that the company asks you to pay for something. Now, organizations will not ask you to pay for things like software upgrades for systems that you need to use for the job or training that you might need to have. They will have expected that you already have the training you need, or if they need to send you on training, they'll do that on their own nickel. They're not going to ask you to pay for that kind of stuff. Another thing, this is going to be especially true for those of you who may be outside of a particular country that you wish to enter. If an organization says that they have a great job for you, but all you have to do is, transfer money to them to pay for immigration costs, that is a definite red flag, and do not do that without doing some real proper and thorough research. Organizations in North America aren't going to ask you to do that sort of thing. Although you may have to pay for your own immigration services, they're not going to ask you to transfer money to them so that they can then pay for the immigration services on your behalf. If you do have to pay for this stuff, they will have you do that directly with the consulate or whatever the immigration department is in your country. Another telltale sign would be that the organization is asking you for personal information, personal details. Now, all companies in North America are going to need to do some background checks. That's something we already know. However, when they do ask for your background information, so your social insurance or social security number, date of birth, etc., you may need to upload that to a website. A lot of times companies are going to have a third-party website or third-party organization who does the background checking for them. The thing to really take note of, because this can be a real tricky one, is in the address bar for the URL, if it says http:// that's an unsecure site. Look for https://. The difference between HTTP and HTTPS, the S stands for secure or secure site. Those are the sites that should be equipped with lots and lots of security and firewalls, etc., to protect your personal information. So just be really wary of anybody asking for your personal information, especially if you sort of feel uneasy about it. Now the seventh one is closely related, but this is more to do with your banking information. Now, a lot of organizations, they're going to need to have your banking information in order to transfer money to you. But if they're asking for your banking information for any other purpose or information outside of the information they would need to be able to give you money, so things like what your security answers are, any PIN numbers that you have, then that's a definite red flag as well. Now, barring the banks within North America, of course, if you're going to be working for a bank in Canada, as an example, then you'll have to have a bank account with that particular bank. But barring that, if an organization asks you to open up a bank account with a different bank, definitely question that and look into that a little bit further, especially if they're going to be asking you for all of the banking details, such as the PIN number and security questions, as I've just mentioned. Sometimes these scammers are actually using this as a money laundering scheme. So really, truly be careful with your banking details as well as your personal information. And my last sort of tip for you on this is really to use your intuition. So use your gut when if you're starting to sense that something just doesn't seem right or doesn't seem to fit the mold of what a typical recruitment process feels like, then you might be right. You probably are right. So really trust your instincts and do a ton of research. So I know I've talked about this in previous videos. We talk about, how important it is to do your research, not only before you apply for roles, but also for your interviews and all of that kind of good stuff. But also make sure that you're checking out LinkedIn for the company profile, but also for the names of the people with whom you might be interviewing or the people who have been reaching out to you. So one of the things, actually a friend of mine brought this up to me. He works in corporate security for a very large organization, and to protect his privacy, I'm not going to name names right now, but he was telling me that some scammers nowadays are even going as far as to borrow legitimate people's LinkedIn identification. So they're creating fake accounts with real people's names and using real company information. So when you're looking people up on LinkedIn, really pay attention to things like how many contacts they might have, and really look through their profile. See if you can find more than one person with the same name at the same organization. Now, with that said, LinkedIn is a very trustworthy site. It's a place that I highly recommend people use all the time. And LinkedIn, from all accounts that I've heard, is fantastic with removing any fake accounts. They can't help it. It's not a LinkedIn problem. This is really scammers just using the system to their advantage. Now, if you feel that you have been approached by a job scam or that you've seen a job scam, then the best thing to do is to report this to your local police. In Canada, you can also report it to the RCMP's fraud unit, just to make sure that these sorts of operations are stopped as much as possible and we're protecting each other from these types of scams. Now, with that said, I know that most of the roles, most of the opportunities you guys are going to see out there are going to be legitimate. There are always going to be a handful of scam artists out there in every area of business that we are engaged in. So it's really important to be mindful, really keep your wits about you when you're seeing some of these things, or if you're noticing any of these telltale signs. If you've seen any sort of scams or things that really made you raise an eyebrow, please do leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys on this, and again, just a way for us to help each other out. And as a result of that, all ships will float higher. Please be sure to also share this video with your friends and family members, just to make sure that people are, aware that there's possibility for a scam to occur. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you like this video, please do press like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions about this or anything else that's related to your job search, please feel free to reach out to me. Of course, I can be reached on email, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, whatever works for you. If you have any video ideas or would like to collaborate as well, I'd love to hear from you. And of course, for personalized advice, come on over to my website. I'd be happy to help. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy hunting!